Top 3 Scariest Town Horror Stories that will make you question everything. Story 1. The Vanishing Town. It was supposed to be a quiet road trip, a weekend getaway to a small, forgotten town off the map. A place you never heard of, tucked away in the heart of nowhere. When they pulled into the town, it felt like stepping into another world, one that didn't belong to time. There were no cars on the road and no people in sight. It was like a ghost town, except it was alive. They parked and wandered around trying to find some sign of life. They found a diner, its door hanging open, but inside no one was there. No staff, no customers, just dirty dishes on tables and flickering lights overhead. The unease began to creep in, but they brushed it off, until they tried to leave. The car wouldn't start. No matter how much they tried, it wouldn't move. The streets were empty. And then the whispers began. Low at first, soft murmurs that echoed in the air. They couldn't place it. Was it from the walls or the ground beneath their feet? Suddenly, the streets were filled with figures, standing perfectly still, their eyes hollow and lifeless. No one spoke. They just stared. The worst part? When they finally managed to get the car started, they looked back and the town was gone. Not abandoned. Gone. No roads, no diner, just empty land. When they got back to civilization, they tried to tell someone, but no one believed them. They were left with only one haunting thought. What if they're still there? Watching. Waiting? Story 2. The Hollow Bridge. There's a bridge in the middle of nowhere, forgotten by most, marked on maps as an old, abandoned road. No one dares to cross it anymore for reasons no one speaks of. But one curious group of friends decided to see for themselves. They didn't believe in ghost stories, didn't care about warnings. They thought it was all superstition. As they crossed the bridge, it felt wrong. The air grew thick, colder than the rest of the world around them. The closer they got to the center, the more disorienting it became. The ground beneath them began to tremble as if something heavy was moving just below. Then they saw it. A figure standing motionless on the other side of the bridge, watching them. At first, they thought it was a person, but as they drew closer, the details of the figure became clearer and far more unsettling. Its face was pale, cracked like porcelain, its mouth wide open in a twisted, silent scream. Suddenly, the bridge began to shake violently. The group tried to run back, but the ground beneath them turned to blackened sand, sinking them into the earth. They screamed for help, but no one heard them. And then, the whispers, the same whispers they had heard in the town, filled the air again. You shouldn't have come. The last thing they saw was the figure moving closer, its cracked lips now whispering their names. The bridge was now a place of nightmares, and anyone who dares to cross it after them will never return. Story 3. The Watchers. There's a small town nestled deep in the woods, where visitors rarely pass through. It's quiet, eerily quiet. But once you stay the night, you'll never want to leave. It's not the peaceful quiet you might expect, but a suffocating silence that presses down on your chest, making it hard to breathe. The first sign you're not alone is the eyes. Everywhere you look, someone is watching you, standing in doorways, behind windows, from the shadows. Their faces are pale, expressionless, with eyes so hollow it feels like they're staring straight into your soul. A family passing through once decided to stay the night. They checked into an old inn and everything seemed fine at first. They ate their dinner in peace, but that night they heard something that would change them forever. Footsteps outside their door. But no one was there when they opened it. Just the heavy silence. As the night wore on, they began hearing whispering voices, muffled and distant. And then it started to feel like they were being followed. They could hear the soft rustling of footsteps behind them, but when they turned, there was no one. Just the ever-present feeling of being watched. It wasn't until the next morning that they realized the horrifying truth. The people in the town weren't alive. They were the dead, trapped in their own personal hell. And now they were watching the family. Waiting. Wanting them to join them in the dark. The family fled the inn, but no matter where they went, they felt the eyes following them. And then, when they tried to leave the town, the roads all led back to the same place. The town that never ends. They were trapped, forced to live in a cycle of endless terror. The curse of the stories. You've heard these stories and now you've invited the curse into your life. You felt it, didn't you? The tension, the unease, the creeping sense that something is watching you. But the worst part? It's not over. The stories never end. The things in these tales are real. And now that you've listened, they know you're here. They're watching you. Right now. You should have never heard these stories. You should have never asked for more. And now you'll never be free. If you're still here, it's too late. Subscribe now before it's too late. Because these stories never let go. And something is waiting for you. Right now.